This is Cat Lady Justin, and this is the Kitty Boss, where we pick, pamper, and protect your practically perfect pussycat for a lifetime of unconditional love. I am here today with Dr. Rachel Geller, one of the world's foremost cat behaviorists and cat chaplain, and the president of All Cats All the Time, which is a nonprofit organization for people in the United States who, if they are on low income, we take away that excuse for getting a cat because we can help with the financial side of things of having stuff to get a cat. And Dr. Rachel is the president of A Cat, All Cats All the Time. She's also a best-selling author of some books about cat behavior, which are highly recommended. And so, Rachel, without further ado, welcome to the show. We took a hiatus for a month, so it's great to see you again and to catch up with you.
Yes, very nice to be back. I'm looking forward to jumping right in.
Jumping right in. So there's something I want to share with everybody and with you, which I found fascinating and intriguing, and it's along the lines of my sort of obsession with cats, if you will, my passion for cats. It's a bit mystical, it's a bit unusual, but it is absolutely true. And I'll tell you that in a minute. But first, you had some posts that I thought were well worth sharing with people on social media, and I definitely encourage people to check them out and follow you and learn that way. But let's talk about them. So, firstly, congratulations. You won an award. And could you tell us a little bit about the video that you produced, what it was about, the award, and then let's talk a little bit about the content of the video.
Okay, so the name of the video that I produced is called Your Cat and Your New Baby. And the reason I did that is so many people think they need to surrender their cat or they're having behavior problems and they assume that behavior is all about the cat, when they have a new baby. So I made a video which describes how you can prepare your home before the baby comes home, what you can do once the baby is home, and then going forward. And I submitted the video to the Cat Writers Association because they were having a contest on communication and writing. So I decided I'll go for it and I submitted the video and I won a certificate of excellence for the video. So very exciting. I was very proud. And but most importantly, I do have this video that's out there, it's being used, it's being recognized, and it's helping to keep more cats in their homes rather than being surrendered because people may not understand what's going on with their cat and their new baby.
Yeah, because I've heard that. I've heard exactly what you said. I've heard people say I have to, and the word surrender isn't the word usually the word they use. They would I have to give up my cat or
Mhm.
to a shelter or whatever. Or I'm trying to get my cat adopted or sell my cat or whatever. But people are not keeping their cats. Some people are, um, because they think, well, I have a new baby coming, and so I always find that very shocking. I always find that like not appropriate. Like, I really don't like hearing that. It does make me a bit angry. But they think that there's several reasons why. One of them is, well, I'm just not going to have time for the cat anymore. Okay, well, doesn't have to be that time consuming. And most people really manage to have a pet and a baby, and it's never a problem. And it's usually very good for the child, very healthy for the child to grow up with a pet. So that's an interesting one. The affordability one is also interesting. If you can't afford it, well, why are you having a kid? You can't afford a cat, then you can't afford a kid. So it's not really that expensive. So but I have heard it. So, but again, it's just an excuse. And I've heard some myths and I've heard some superstitions about cats and babies and like, everything from stealing their soul to their breath to their this to their that, all of which is nonsense, is really untrue. And so I think it's really important that we understand that there are things that you could do and there's things that you should do when you're bringing a new baby into a home where there's already a cat there. Because let's take a look at it from the cat's perspective. And also for yours. So, shall we share a few tips about that?
Yes, and I love the way you say from the cat's perspective because some cats really do, freak out and it's misinterpreted. It's not jealousy, it's not aggression. I mean, sure, you knew this baby was coming, but from your cat's perspective, in one day, her whole world has been turned upside down. Think about all of the new smells, the new noises, the changes in schedule. Maybe there are now frequent guests and other family members coming in and out. So cats love predictability. They love routine. They get very stressed when there are a lot of changes. So just think how many changes happen seemingly overnight when you have this new baby. So your cat's not aggressive. Your cat's not jealous. Your cat is confused and trying to figure out a way to cope. So I always recommend to people plan ahead because cats are very reactive to scent. If you know you're going to be using a certain brand of baby oil or baby powder, buy those ahead of time, sprinkle it on your skin, a few weeks before the baby arrives so your baby gets used to these new smells. Same with the room. You're going to have a new room for the new baby. There'll be new furniture in there. There'll be a crib. Keep that door open and let the cat go in there as much as she wants to so she can investigate, she can scent deposit, she can get used to the new smells before the baby comes home. So when your cat marks her territory, it's very reassuring to the cat. So she goes in, she can scent deposit, she can investigate on her own time, and that will really help a lot. Now, one thing that cats really hate is intermittent noise. If you're a regular follower of Cat Lady Justin and this Kitty Boss podcast, every year we talk about fireworks, intermittent noise. Think about a baby wailing. That's intermittent noise, and that can be very unsettling to a cat. So I also recommend to people before the baby comes home, use your iPhone, create an audio recording of a baby crying and start playing that before the baby arrives so that the cat gets used to that sound of crying and wailing. So there's a lot of things you can do to prepare. And then, you mentioned the schedule. I tell people, make a schedule of when you're going to play with your cat or have some alone time with your cat. Make it part of your day. I like the idea of maybe writing it down or posting it somewhere so it's visual reminder for you as well. But not only will it help your cat and calm your cat down, it'll give you a little respite and a break as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I have to say, it's not just cats who are irritated or off put by intermittent noises from a baby. I don't like the sounds of human babies make. I find them annoying. So it's not just a cat. I mean, there's people who don't like it either. And
Yes, so
to
you can empathize.
systematically desensitize the cat to that noise makes sense. It makes very good sense because that way the baby doesn't come and all of a sudden here we go. You start to work you start to surprise them with all these things. This way, you start with some noise and some smell and some this, and then when the baby comes, it's just a little more of that. But they've already
Exactly.
started to experience it
Makes
gradually.
sense.
And I think gradually is a key word that we use with cats all the time when on other episodes, when we talked about introducing a new cat to a cat that's already there, or reintroducing two cats who have had a conflict or something. We always talk about gradual introduction, step by step. And so I think that's like a very key thing with cats. I know when you switch the cat's diet, for example, it's always recommended to do it very gradually to keep them on their old diet, just sprinkle a little bit of the new food in there and then
Yes,
very gradually increase the proportions until the old food is gone. And that's I don't know, cats seem to deal much better with that,
they
with
do.
things that are done gradually
Gradually.
and
Yes,
gently.
they're much better with gradual change, incremental change, letting them have the opportunity to get used to the new thing. Cats are highly reactive to change, and change causes a lot of stress to a cat. And stress is a cat's worst enemy. So we really want to do everything we can to lessen that stress. Even with the audio recording, I tell people find something on your, Google it and find a baby crying.
Yeah,
Start
shouldn't be
off
too
with it
hard.
very, very low and just for like a few seconds. And then the next day you can up the volume a little bit and lengthen the duration. And then a couple of days later, turn the volume up a little more. So the cat gradually gets used to that noise. And then even things like, white noise machines and things like that can help as well when the baby's home. But the more we can gradually, and again, I think you use the word desensitization, which is a fancy way of saying we present a little bit to the cat. Once the cat gets used to it, we present a little bit more. Then the cat gets used to it. So, desensitization is a nice fancy word for the cat will get used to it.
A
And
cat
when
will
you
get used to
present
it.
something to the cat, gradually, slowly, and incrementally, they will get used to it. And then they won't, um, you know, people will contact me, my cat is hissing at the baby. Well, hissing is not aggression, hissing is fear. And the cat is confused because she's suddenly been bombarded, probably within one day. So many new smells, so many new noises, a complete change in her schedule. Um, so she's scared and she's stressed out and she's trying to cope. One thing that can help too is have a quiet room in your home that's off limits to everybody except for the cat. That can help as well.
Hmm. That's yeah, and I think you have one of those rooms, right?
I do.
And if some people don't have the space for that, then okay, it's not an absolute necessity. It's just a good idea.
It's a good
So
idea. And if you don't have space, anyone who's ever contacted me knows I have all kinds of workarounds and modifications. If you don't have space to dedicate an extra room to your cat, then provide vertical space so the cat can climb up and feel safe that way. If you don't have room for a big cat tree, then look around your home. Chances are there is some shelving that is going unused, and with a cozy quilt or soft blanket, that can now become vertical space. Same with tops of bureaus, backs of couches. So there's all ways that we can, modify my suggestions to fit your
yeah,
individual
there's
living situation.
places the cat can go to
Yes,
sort of call its own, call
yes,
it its own domain. So thank you. That's really important, and I encourage everyone to go and watch the video. It's won an award, so it must be good, right? So so I think that's important for people to watch that because we've only touched on this, a few things here, a few tips. We've scratched the surface, and to get a lot more information on that, I think it's important to watch the video. So there's another topic that you brought up, and I thought that was also something that we have talked about before, but that's worth mentioning again, and that is playing with your cat. So we talked about, of course, the cycle of playing with the cat and how important it is to play with the cat and then let it capture whatever you're playing with and then feed it, and then it likes to sleep usually, and how that can even be used as a tool for a cat that wakes you up in the middle of the night, is to play with it for a few minutes before your bedtime and all of that. But this specifically, we were talking about the differences between types of toys that cats like, because there's certainly a lot on the market. I have a lot, and some cats prefer some things. Like I know some cats go wild for the that Kong, toy, the little cushiony thing with the feathers, and some cats could care less about it. And then some toy. In other words, cats aren't always interested in the same toy. So it might be a flop with one cat and a hit with another one. But in general, we know that the laser toys, the cats have there's a reputation, there's a sort of a common uh, idea that cats love that, and that makes them go crazy, and it kind of does, because most cats will react to that and will try to get it. But what we always recommend, right, is that it's only the beginning of the playtime, because of the fact that the cat can't actually capture that red dot from the laser, and so it's only good as a starting point. And if we rely on that exclusively as the cat's play, that could really lower your cat's confidence and stress them out more than anything. So, what is one of the best cat toys that we've talked about before, but it's worth mentioning again because it's most cats do like it. Mine
Yeah,
do.
yeah. I mean, so I get this question all the time because people say my cat doesn't like to play. So chances are you're not properly triggering that prey drive, especially when someone says to me, my cat is biting my ankles, and I'm talking about playtime. My cat doesn't like to play. Well, clearly your cat has a prey drive and wants to play if he's going after your ankles. So the best type of toy to use is like a wand or a fishing pole type toy. And the main reason this is so good is you can manipulate the toy and you can mimic prey. So solo toys that you throw out, a fuzzy mouse or things like that that you throw on the floor, that's not really going to trigger a cat's prey drive because it's lying there lifeless on the floor. And the cat, in order to get it to move, the cat has to pretend he's both the predator and the prey. And that is really not very realistic. A wand toy, on the other hand, you can mimic prey. You can sometimes be up, you can sometimes be down, you can be around, you can scurry about on the floor, you can go and hide behind a piece of furniture. You can play dead and then suddenly come back to life. So all with a fishing pole or wand type toy, you can really manipulate it to mimic how prey would act. So solo toys usually are not that enticing for cats. As you mentioned with the laser pointer, the whole point of play, so we call it play, but to your cat, this is a hunt. And the purpose of a hunt is to capture something physically and tangibly between your teeth, between the cat's teeth and the cat's paws. So with a laser pointer, the cat can see the dot, he can attempt to capture the dot, but this little red dot can never ever be captured. So it's very frustrating to a cat. You know, he sees the dot, certain of a sure catch, he pounces, and there's nothing there. Your poor cat is wondering why all of her great hunting techniques are never working anymore. But worse than that, she's getting really frustrated. She wants to sink her teeth into her caught prey, and she can't do it. So when I advise people who are playing with their cats to use a fishing pole or a wand type toy, I always highly recommend end the session with a final wind down. You know, pretend the prey is getting tired, the prey is getting injured, the prey dies. Let the cat capture it. Let the cat get that prey in between his teeth or claws, and then immediately follow the play session with some type of food or a treat. Because to your cat, this is a hunt. And the whole point of the hunt is to capture something and eat it. So you really want to let your cat have that opportunity to now eat her caught and killed prey that she worked very hard to do, used all of her great hunting techniques and strategies. We want your cat to feel successful, confident, proud that she is such a great hunter. And to do that, we want to let the cat eat something after the play session. It can be a portion of a regular meal, it can be a yummy treat that she loves. If she's on
Yeah.
prescription food, it can be that. It doesn't, whatever your cat enjoys and whatever your cat needs is fine for food. But the laser pointer never allows your cat to get that physical and tangible catch. And invariably, when someone tells me their cat is biting their ankles or going after their hands, I will find out that the person is using a laser pointer to play. So the poor cat is just trying to finish that hunting sequence, get that, you know, sink his teeth into something because he has that need as a natural born hunter.
Yeah. And then you made me think of my Charlotte because I've the two cats. I have Emily and Charlotte, and Charlotte will request the toy. Charlotte will make a request. She will, you know, paw at the toy that she wants to play with, and it's always one of the stick fishing pole. There's one called the cat dancer.
Yes.
So it's always one of those that she paws at and wants and wants to play with. And So I think that's or wants to hunt or something,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's true that the sort of the dead ball or the thing that it's just that they're just not excited by it. There
Right.
is a toy that my partner got for my cats, which was really well intentioned because it's really cute. It is like one of these like self-play. It's like this little ball, and it's electronic though because you can turn it on, and it has a little string on it. So it then moves around, and it can move, and it has different settings, and it can move around a little bit like a mouse, and then make a little beat, a squeaky. So it's quite interactive as a toy. If it bumps into something, it changes direction and all that. My cats are scared of it. They haven't really they've played with it sometimes when it was off, and
Uh-huh.
I was moving it around, but when that thing switches on and it's on its own, they're scared of it. They won't go near it. So it's not that one isn't a good solution. I
Yes.
think really there's trying to rather than trying to reinvent the wheel every time, it's really those fishing pole toys, those little that
It
whatever it
really,
is on the end of that stick, it
yeah.
doesn't matter. It can be anything. That's what they really like. Or actually a feather, like one of those long like feathers from a quail or something. The cats really like that too. If I'm
One of the
moving it
reasons
around.
they like, the fishing poles or wand type toys so much is you know, her her beloved cat parent is part of the game. So the cat is getting confident. She's having fun. She's releasing tension. She's feeling like a grand conqueror and queen of her territory. And all of this happens with you at the helm. So it's such a powerful bonding tool. It's something that cats really create positive associations with you and the successful hunt. And, just like people, cats have their preferences and how they want to play or recreate. I love running. Other people don't like to run. They have their preferences as well. Some like the feathers, some like just a ribbon of fleece, some like up hunting, others prefer ground hunting. So, if you try it one way and your cat doesn't respond, don't assume that she doesn't want to play. She might just need a different style of play or a different type of wand. And also, let your cat have some time. So people will sometimes start dangling the toy, and then 3 seconds later, the cat's not doing anything. Oh, she doesn't want to play, and they walk away. Well, some cats like to really strategize and plan their moves. So they're developing their strategy in their minds, but they haven't yet put it into action. So if you have the type of cat who likes to think things through first before they act, let her have that time, plan her moves, and she will then go for the toy.
That's a good point because I have given up sometimes a little too soon to the cat, and then it's like and then she comes up and she's like meowing and like, where'd you go? And I was like, well, I thought you didn't want to play. And she didn't really explain, but now I understand why. So it's probably because she was just thinking about how
Yeah.
she wants to approach this
Yes.
scenario.
Yes.
And I just was like, oh, and I just walked away, and then she's like, meow, what's up with
Yeah.
that?
And that's common.
So
Yeah. So some cats do. They like to develop a strategy. Um,
are
and
you
it's
a
just like
strategist,
people.
Charlotte?
Some some
She's here,
people,
so
act first and think later, and some people think it through first and then act. So
yeah, Charlotte's a thinker, right?
she's
She's
a
not
thinker.
talking, but she's here. So the last thing I wanted to talk about today is something that I found out recently in the last couple months, and I thought it was really, really interesting when I looked into it. So you know how cats pupil will go big and
Mhm.
wide and like Puss in Boots like in the cartoon, but it'll also go like in the bright light like a slit. No other feline does that. The lion's eye or the tiger or they have the pupils. They do what our pupils do. They just the circle contracts. It doesn't turn into a slit. I thought that was interesting that
It is.
only domestic cats do that. And the other thing is the really the only other creature that has the eye that goes into the vertical slit is a reptile.
Hmm.
Is like a snake. Well, that's really interesting, isn't it?
That is interesting.
That that's what they have. That the only two creatures that, like, snakes and cats have that in common,
That is
and
interesting.
cats have that as a difference from all other felines. That seems to be interesting. But there's another thing that cats and snakes have in common, which again I thought was really cats. There's some connection between cats and snakes, and that is that they're the only two creatures that hiss.
Huh. That is
So a
interesting.
tiger and a lion and a cheetah, they do not hiss. The other felines don't hiss, and other animals don't hiss either. Just the snakes. So they have these two things, now the cat hisses as a fear reaction. The snake, I don't know. I'm not a reptile expert. So the snake hisses for whatever reason the snake hisses. But how that came about, how that evolved, that the cat and the snake have these two features in common that differentiate the cat from every other feline on Earth, I think is just interesting. How that developed, how that evolved. I've heard tons of theories out there. One of them is like in ancient Egypt, the aliens came down and genetically created this, that took the best of the cat and the best of the snake and put it together, and they made what we have here. Okay, that sounds nice to me, that the aliens in Egypt, ancient Egypt, and the pharaohs, they made that. Okay, how do you prove that? Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you know that? Like, where'd you come up with that? That's an interesting theory, and got no problem with it. It's certainly cool to think about the implications of cats and why I like them so much, maybe. But I just found that to be a fascinating feline fact. Do you know what I mean? That they have these traits. So I
It
don't know
is.
if you've ever heard this before.
That is fascinating. I mean, I feel like cats in general have so many traits that other animals don't have. Like the
Oh
purr.
yeah,
Yeah, it
the
is.
purr, all the we've talked about that before.
Yeah,
All of the things that the purr does, like
yeah,
the frequency that is able to lower the stress levels in a human being, but physically measurable, to
yeah,
lower your cortisol levels with the purr, and then also not like cure, but help to promote healing in bone tissue in a human being. Just the vibratory frequency of the purr, and there's no other creature in the world that emits this sound that helps you in that way. So
yeah.
I find
It's truly
that's
amazing.
another fascinating thing that cats are able to do, that they have. And it certainly does lend some credence, some believability to these theories as to how that happened, how that evolved. Well, cats and humans and dogs are a beloved domestic pet, but they don't have any of these special features like a cat does. The dogs are great, I like dogs, but they don't have these magical properties that the cat has. And
Yeah,
so it's a very interesting sort of thing. And
it is.
I thought everyone would be sort of intrigued, and
Yes,
maybe
I
motivated to
feel
dive into that rabbit hole.
yes. That is an amazing little tidbit of information.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah,
So if
I love it.
you find, if anybody finds more things that are unique about cats that other creatures don't have, that make them a special sort of partner with human, I want to say pet, but partner with humans as a species. I mean, um, share them with me, because those are the ones I know of. And are there more? Does anybody know of anything else?
Let us know.
Um,
Yes.
let us know. There's one more that I heard about, which is from a Reiki practitioner, is that cats are able to dissipate negative energy from a human or any space by lying around that space. And a male cat holds onto it a bit more, and a female cat disperses it easier, and all of that. So I have heard that one. But I can't think of any others. So if anyone else has any other special, magical, but real properties, real traits of a cat, a house cat, domestic cat, then do let us know, because I thought they were special before, and it just keeps proving, you know, proving me right about how special and unique cats are as just a creature on in
Yes.
this world.
Yeah.
So that's I think a good place to end the show. I think we've said everything that we want to say. We talked about play and the importance of playing properly with a cat, so you're not just frustrating and stressing them out, but you're actually playing with them, and how that's such a great interactive bonding experience for you and for the cat. It's also good for you. It's good for you to play and
It
release
is.
some stress with
It
your. I mean,
is.
why'd you get a pet?
No,
So
it's
there's
great.
that, and
We are giving you permission after a long, stressful day at work to come home and dance around your house like you're a bug or a bird. So
yeah,
go for it.
there
Yes.
you go. No one's watching except your
Right.
cat, and they're gonna love you for it. So, and so will we, to be honest, if we did see it. And so we talked about that and how healthy and important it is, and of course we started off talking about your award-winning video about you bringing a baby home, bringing a baby home. There's our cats already there. And so what do you do? What do you do? So watch that, listen to that. More importantly, go see Dr. Rachel's video and share it with everyone you know, especially people, because people who are having babies, but just share it in general, because you never know, someone will stumble across it, or one of your friends online or connections might be having a baby or expecting, and you didn't know about it. So I think it's really important, especially if there's a cat there. But so go ahead and share that too. But and then we talked about something really special about a cat. So that's all for today. Dr. Rachel, is there anything else that you'd care to say or ask or anything before we end the show?
I just would like to say that this was an excellent episode, excellent topics, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again next month.
Yeah, and I maybe should have saved it for next month about that whole mystical stuff with the cat, with the eye, and all of that, because we're at that time of year, and next month's show we'll talk a little bit about holidays and Halloween and all that kind of stuff. So maybe we'll bring this up again. So thank you very much, Dr. Rachel. This is Cat Lady Justin, and this is the Kitty Boss, where we pick, pamper, and protect your practically perfect pussycat for a lifetime of unconditional love. So we will see you next time.